Sunday, July 21st, 1985. Glen Ellyn, Illinois was a peaceful suburb. But that summer day would change everything. Kristy Wesselman was just 15 years old. She left her home in Glen Ellyn, Illinois, to buy candy. Her mom said, "Be careful, princess. I love you." Those were the last words she ever spoke to Kristy. Kristy was seen walking down a shortcut path toward home. A predator was waiting. Kristy was attacked from behind. Her body was found the next day. A shoelace was tied around her neck. Detectives searched for months, checking alibis, combing the field, watching the neighborhood. Nothing that could lead them to anyone. On the day of Kristy's funeral, "I promised her I'd never stop trying to find the person who killed her," her mom said. Never knew it would take a lifetime. 30 years later, an arrest was made. His DNA matched the crime scene after a domestic battery conviction required him to submit a sample. It's a joyful day and a very sad day. We will always miss Kristy. Her life was stolen, but her story was never forgotten. And the promise Sandy made to never stop searching was finally fulfilled.
Before we start this video, I just want to thank you for your support. Please hit that subscribe button. Only 10% of viewers currently is subscribed. Thank you. Nestled in the heart of DuPage County, Glen Ellyn, Illinois, is a peaceful suburban village known for its tree-lined streets, close-knit neighborhoods, and strong sense of community. About 23 miles west of Chicago, it boasts 3 business districts: historic downtown, Roosevelt Road Corridor, and Stacy's Corners. The movie Lucas was filmed in Glen Ellyn in 1986. The DuPage River Trail is a very popular 30-mile trail that winds through the Warrenville Grove Forest Preserve, Weigand Riverfront Park, and Whalen Lake. In the summer of 1985, this quiet town was shaken by a tragedy that would leave a lasting mark on its history when Kristy Wesselman walked out the door to buy candy at the Jewel grocery store. Not aware of the horror that is to come, Kristy and her mom, Sandy, have a cozy day planned, just watching old movies together. As Kristy heads out, Sandy calls after her, "Be careful, princess. I love you." Sandy did not know then. It was the last time she would ever talk to Kristy. That was the 80s. Girls could go alone to the store then. Kristy was a popular freshman at Glen Bard South High School. She was a popular athlete and president of her high school freshman class. Security footage later revealed her standing in line, patiently waiting to buy her candy. Just a normal teenager on a normal Sunday. After leaving the store, she took a well-trodden path, a 150-yard shortcut that led directly to her home in the Valley View subdivision. She never returned. It was a path she'd walked 100 times before. But on this day, hidden in the summer greenery, a predator was waiting. Kristy was ambushed from behind. The vibrant, sunny afternoon turned into a nightmare as she was dragged into a nearby wooded area. The unimaginable happened. She was brutally attacked and stabbed 8 times. When her body was discovered the next day, a shoelace was tied around her neck. Something precious was also missing: a family heirloom ring, a simple yellow-gold band with a distinctive chipped pearl. But this information was kept quiet. The community was shattered. How could this happen in their quiet, suburban town? The investigation kicked off immediately, led by a young detective named Kevin Buchholz, who was just 32 at the time. He poured everything he had into the case. For 5 long months, he and his team worked tirelessly. They checked alibis, meticulously combed the field for any shred of evidence, and kept a watchful eye on Kristy's neighborhood. Over the years, the detectives followed hundreds of leads that sent them all over the country, searched pawn shops for the missing pearl ring. But every lead turned into a dead end. As Buchholz later recalled, it was really challenging. There was nobody to zero in on. The trail went cold, and the case, though never forgotten, remained unsolved. No witnesses, no DNA match. Well, to tell the truth, the use of DNA to solve criminal cases was in its infancy. We always figured that time would catch up to whoever committed this offense, that it's not the type committed by someone with no background, said Joe Burkett, at the time the DuPage County State's attorney. In the year 2000, science improved for DNA, and investigators took a crucial step. They submitted DNA evidence collected from the crime scene into CODIS, the national database of convicted criminals. Hopes were high. At the time, the database held over 500,000 profiles. They waited, praying for a match that would finally give Kristy's killer a name. But the search came back empty. Still, Sandy Wesselman never gave up. At Kristy's funeral, she had made a silent, solemn promise to her daughter. "I silently promised her I would never stop trying to find the person who killed her," she said. "I didn't know at the time that it would be a lifetime process." Then, on July 21, 2011, a significant development. It was exactly 26 years to the day since Kristy's death. The police decided to release a critical piece of information to the public, hoping it might jog someone's memory. They shared a picture and description of Kristy's missing ring, the yellow gold band with the chipped pearl. It was a long shot, but they hoped someone, somewhere, might recognize it. Maybe it had been sold or given as a gift. 4 more years passed. The 30th anniversary of Kristy's death came and went. For 3 decades, a killer had walked free. But behind the scenes, the wheels of justice were slowly, finally turning. In 2015, a man named Michael R. Jones, then 62 years old and living in Champaign, Illinois, was convicted of domestic battery and was sentenced to a year on probation. Under a new state law, that conviction required him to submit a DNA sample to the state database. His profile was uploaded, and the system went to work, cross-referencing it with millions of others, including the unknown sample from a wooded area in Glen Ellyn, collected 30 years prior. And then it happened. A hit. On September 10th, authorities were notified of a match. The DNA was a perfect match. They obtained a search warrant for Jones's home in Champaign, Illinois, 150 miles south of Glen Ellyn. When detectives questioned him, he denied ever being in Glen Ellyn. They showed him a photo of Kristy. He said, "As God is my witness, I've never seen her before." On September 21, 2015, 30 years, 2 months, and a lifetime of waiting later, an arrest was made. Dawn Domrose, spokeswoman for the sheriff's office, confirmed Michael R. Jones, 62 years old, was charged with 2 counts of murder and 1 count of aggravated criminal sexual assault in the death of Kristy Wesselman. He was being held in DuPage County Jail. The news sent shockwaves through the community and brought an overwhelming mix of emotions to Sandy Wesselman, accompanied by her son, William. At the press conference, with tears in her eyes but strength in her voice, Sandy said, "It's a joyful day and a very sad day. We will always miss Kristy." The promise she made to her daughter, a promise that had sustained her through 30 years of grief and uncertainty, was finally on the verge of being fulfilled. "My initial reaction is one of shock and awe," the girl's brother, Bill Wesselman, said afterward. "We've been waiting for news like this for 30 years, and it finally came." As investigators dug into Michael Jones's past, a disturbing history of violence emerged. He wasn't a first-time offender. In fact, he had 2 previous rape convictions from the 1970s. He had been sentenced but didn't serve his full time. If he had served his time, he would still be in jail in 1985, and this tragedy would never happen. Bob Berlin, DuPage County State Attorney, said of the arrest, "The pain and grief and the fear felt by the Wesselman family and the entire community has never gone away. It brings the family one step closer to obtain the full measure of justice they deserve." And at sentencing he said, "Since 1985, this case was a black cloud over our city. Today, that black cloud has finally been lifted." 2 of his previous survivors bravely attended his sentencing for Kristy's murder. Judy Van Kirk added, "Michael Jones got what he deserved. I wish it was a little bit sooner." Their presence was a powerful statement. Gary Michael spoke to the painful reality of the situation, saying, "Had he served the full sentence back then, we wouldn't be here today." Her words highlighted a systemic failure that allowed a dangerous predator back on the streets to harm again. Their courage in facing him brought another layer of justice to the courtroom. Finally, after decades of living in the shadows, his reign of terror was over. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 80 years in prison, ensuring he would never harm another person again. Judge George McKillis called Jones a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde character and deserved every day of the 80-year sentence he received. Her life was a story that was just beginning, full of promise and potential. That story was stolen in the most brutal way imaginable, but she was never, ever forgotten. This case is a testament to the unwavering love of a mother and the relentless dedication of law enforcement who refused to give up. It shows that even after decades of silence, truth and justice can prevail. Sandy Wesselman kept her promise. After 30 long years, her princess could finally rest in peace. Thank you so much for watching and for allowing us to share Kristy's story. It's a short one for today just to give us a little breather. If you found this story meaningful, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more content. Your support helps us continue to shine a light on these important cases. See you next time.